I discovered the existence of the black-eyed children through the podcast Paranormal Mysteries. Being unemployed for a few months, I've been rapidly moving through creepy podcasts like Spooked, Radio Rental, and The Grave Talks. None of them had mentioned black-eyed children. It was supremely interesting and equally as terrifying. If you've never heard of the black-eyed children, let me give you a rundown. First, just like most creepies, they creep at night. Night helps hide their solid black eyes. This is a dead giveaway of what they are. They're mostly normal, except they seem to be wearing clothes from last century. Second, they tend to show up at your house, asking to be let in to use the phone. They say they're lost, or make up some kind of excuse for not having a cell phone. They won't say much else. They keep to the same dialogue. It's important to them to gain access to your house. Third, other than the black eyes, no iris, no sclera. Another giveaway is the accompanying sense of dread. Powerful dread. Pets will lose their shit, not act right, even before you know these kids are there. For some god-awful reason, people have let them inside their homes. People have reported that the children do use the phone, but then they sit down and don't say a damn word unless spoken to. "Our parents will be here soon" is just about their only reply. Abruptly, they stand up to announce the arrival of their parents, who never come to the door, by the way, and they leave. This is where shit hits the fan. Pets go missing or are found dead. People involved in the encounter develop some unexplainable illness or something like that. Every pet, every person, every time. Perhaps the scariest part is they have been known to approach people in their cars. In this case, they ask for a ride to your home. Rarely, but it can still happen. They might be found at your place of work. This podcast had a special effect on me. I've never been so scared and paranoid after listening to a paranormal story. Maybe it's because I live alone. Perhaps it's the fact that these are children, and our first instinct is usually to help children. I don't know, but it freaked me the fuck out. I felt foolish, but for weeks, I expected them to knock. And then they did. I was closing my blinds well before dark. Out of sight, out of mind, right? And tonight was no different. I was unwinding in the living room. The classic stereotype of a couch potato, complete with snacks. For no reason that I could see, both of my dogs started whimpering, whining. "What's wrong?" I asked them. I had no clue what was going on. but their agony was apparent as their whining increased in pitch and frequency. It didn't take long before both of my German shepherds got up and slunk away. "Hey, come here, what's going on?" Strange behaviour. Looking back, this should have been my first clue. Before I could get up to go after them, I felt a sudden and incredible sense of foreboding. It was like an instinct was telling me something was wrong. But how could I honour this feeling when clearly nothing was wrong? Where was the real evidence? Dread replaced foreboding. It all clicked when they knocked. I didn't need to look through the peephole to know what was at that door. Even inside my own house, where all I had to do was stay put, I felt absolutely helpless. If I was the one with the power, why was I so petrified?
"My brother and I are lost. May we use your phone?"
The voice of a child. A girl. Fuck. If I had any doubts, they were obliterated with that voice. I needed the comfort of my dogs. I slid off my couch, crawling to my dogs. I did my best to avoid something that I was so sure was watching me. Just as I passed the front door, they knocked again.
"Please, we can't come in unless you let us."
I wish I could describe the dread, the fear. It made me think of how people describe being stalked by an apex predator. They can't see it, but they know it's there. The helplessness was real. The second I reached my dogs, the knock robbed me of the monochrome of relief I'd gained.
"Please, they will be worried."
The scariest part wasn't crawling past that door where I imagined them barging in. No, it was the thought I had at that moment. The thought that maybe, if I let them in, this would all go away. They were just helpless kids. Me and my dogs kept each other company until the children left. We did not sleep that night. I thought about the encounter all the next day. Would they come again? What could I possibly do if they did? I was afraid that they hadn't gotten what they wanted and they'd return. I scoured the internet, searched the library and listened to any relevant podcast or YouTube video. I didn't find any precautions I could take. But from what I could see, as long as I didn't answer the door, I would be fine. Just don't let them in. Simple. I shuddered when I remembered that I'd had the brief thought of letting them in. The only comfort I could find was in what I couldn't find. Nothing. Absolutely no mention of them returning. I felt myself settling into this notion. They had their one shot, and they missed. Nightfall found me and my dogs in the computer room. It took a few hours, but I was finally getting comfortable. I was letting my anxiety out in a video game. Last night was history. Suddenly, I felt as if someone had thrown a weighted blanket on me. A weighted blanket of dread. Oh no. I looked around for my dogs. They were nowhere I could see. How could I have missed their exit? I knew what was coming next. What if I just let them in?
Please may we come inside? We are lost and scared.
They knew exactly where I was. And they hadn't even bothered with the front door. Silence from my end and theirs. Then they knocked. This will pass. 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 I repeated, over and over to myself. But I knew in my soul they weren't going to stop. Braving a stupendous amount of trepidation, I got up to let the kids in.